Hi, I'm Andrew Armstrong and welcome to the Back Office Teardown Lab. It wouldn't be Christmas without Christmas lights, and this is a long set of Christmas lights. These are the type that you run down your length of your garden and back, or across your whole house. I found these in a bag in the loft and I plugged them in, and only part of the string worked. It was just very odd, and now plugging it in here, none of them seem to work, so I suspect there's some sort of dangerous fault here. Now, looking at this, I'm a little bit worried when we start playing with things like this, because you have this here which says input AC 230 volts 50 hertz, output 2 times 1 amp. So you're like, So this sounds suspiciously like a control box that does all the patterns, but it doesn't have a transformer in it. These are just mains powered stringer lights, and you can see in there's different bundles of wiring that have been threaded down here, and it's a super shame because it's obviously all waterproof, meant to go outside, and it's mega long. I mean, it's super heavy. It must be 20 meters long, this thing. So I think it's pretty much dead though, so we might as well dismantle this and start having a look inside. Quite disappointing really, because I thought for a moment there we might be able to fix it, because I had isolated, I was flexing the cable around and I'd found the point where I could see some arcing inside the plastic covering. Right, let's see what we can see. Oh, so bloody annoying. Right. Ooh, there you go. So we do have a fuse and we have a really nice seal there. Have a look at that seal. So I think this thing is IP44. I'm going to check the IP ratings, but I think that means it can probably live outside. Fascinating, most fascinating. And what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to desolder this as we go along, because I'm really not going to want to bother using this. It's such a long string of lights as well, it's really annoying. They're really thick and literally ropey, rope-like in their construction. So it's just a frustrating thing. It's been in the loft for a million years. Let's take it apart so we can have a closer look at how it's constructed. I did find a smaller one, and that's currently plugged in the house, going through the motions, because if you remember with Christmas lights, it's always a good idea, isn't it, to plug them in and see if they're about to blow. And that seal is nice. Look, that's actually a moulded piece. Very quality. So there's the button. Combination, in wave, sequential, slow glow, chasing flash, slow fade, twinkle flash, steady on. So you can see, looking at this, there is one neutral coloured output and two lives. The lives being the brown, the neutral being the blue. And we can certainly see two, probably triacs, I'm going to have a guess at, and a little transformer. Now I'm wondering if the transformer's on there because there's some low voltage circuitry that needs to have satisfaction. Let's dig a little deeper. Off camera I chopped the wires off the end of that plugged end because I didn't want any of the kids picking that up and having a go at it. It's the sort of thing I would have done as a kid. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm quite surprised that this is a rubber dome type affair. It's got two layers. You've got an outer button and an inner button, and the outer button, I'm not sure if it's totally sealed, but it's definitely a grommet. So you've got your two factors removed from the PCB. It's a DK063A, so I don't know what that really stands for, but that on there, that's going to be the chip with the chaser module in it, and it says ODSM. And let's have a quick look while we're here. You've got your contact pad here going to one of the inputs there. It's all single-sided PCB, so we've got to kind of have our wits about us a little bit. And then you have a couple of outputs here, appear to be going to a couple of transistors. And then going to these, I think they're triac devices. I'll try to get a number off them. It's a BT134, two BT134s. And what I think is you've got three lines, two lines and a neutral, and through the pulsing of those two outer ones, or the two lives, wherever they are, it just creates all of these effects. So you probably have the bulbs wired in on a couple of different buses, effectively. Now let's have a quick look where the power is coming in. You've got the little fuse, you've got the power there, jumping across there to the fuse, and it's coming down via this capacitor, the 0.33 microfarad capacitor, to the transformer. And then the output of the transformer, which is here, goes all the way up to that chip module and a bunch of gubbins there. So I suspect that's basically it. It's a nice little transformer circuit. I think we'll have a look at the lights themselves now. Before I just jump onto the wire, just noting here, it does look like that the output though is derived from this transformer, and it's making me wonder, could this be just a one-to-one transformer? Interesting. This is the cable. We've got that molding, over molding in there, so we're going to have trouble with this. So I think what we should do is cut it at a nominal length, so somewhere here. It's almost like a, it really is like a pipe. I suppose you might be able to use it as a pipe. We've got a lot of it. Maybe we don't want to knacker too much of it. I'll cut it here. Oh my word, it is tough. That is super tough. It's at least 3mm thick rubber. Oh, is it solid? It might even be solid, you know. That would explain the weight. Yeah, so if you can see wire flopping around the ends of this, which I can see in some cases, how is it even flopping around? Oh, it's not quite solid. It's definitely got some channels in it. Come on, have a look. Have a look with me. You can see it's got a couple of cavities. Guess that's to stop these wires all shorting out. Makes a lot of sense when you do it that way. Yep, we're getting there. I almost think we should just maybe use some snips. And that, in fact, let's just do that. Is it a cable within a cable? Got the snips in there. So you can see there's your three main wires. Crikey, how do they even do this? And then in there you've got some wires which are also insulated that clearly are from one of the lamps. But it looks like it's a tube within a tube, and all I can guess is that they must manufacture these as separate parts, and then it all just gets heat and vacuum sucks it all together. But I'm going to dig a bit deeper and see if I can strip some of this. We're getting somewhere finally, and I can see the bulb type is definitely incandescent. So there's a little incandescent lamp. Look at that, it's all just twist joined. So no wonder these things could fail. That looks seriously tarnished. I mean, I don't know how old this thing is, but it certainly could be old enough that that would be just totally tarnished with age. It's got to be, oh, it could be a decade, maybe two. Who knows? Urgh. You can see a really good cross section with this piece. You can see your three wires there, and there's actually a lamp that I cut through. Interestingly enough though, it's not obvious to see how the lamp, the little wire ends of the lamp like you see here, actually go through to attach to those. It's definitely a lot more involved in making these than we give them credit for, and they're so armoured. It's almost like an armoured cable. So if you see somebody trying to cut through one of these nefariously, they'd have to have a lot of work to do it. That was horrible, trying to pull this stuff apart, but you can see there the inner tube and the lamps like that. As far as I can surmise, this is what's going on. Basically, you've got your neutral there, and it's a combination of holding live 1 and live 2 on and pulsing them in different sequences. So if you imagine you have these lamps, and I've just arranged them in a matrix there, but really on the string you'll have them something like this, or maybe just pairs, but just imagine L1, L2, L1, L2. So what you can do, you can give that impression that they're chasing each other by flashing them in turn. Yeah, well, it's going to be on, like that. It's going to do that. But because you can pulse width modulate these, you can actually give them different effects, like making them brighter or dimmer, and it's a combination of all those that give you all those wave effects and twinkly effects, and you can do that kind of thing on them. I'd have to really buzz it out to really check, but it's possible that you might have an L1, 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 L2, L2, L2. So it's not just single bulbs, you might just have little chains of 3 or 4 bulbs in those same patterns. But that's all it is. There's not much to them. I really don't think I can salvage anything of it. I was kind of hoping I'd be able to rip the innards out, and this is a super thick pipe, like a hose pipe, but nope. All just going to go into the landfill, I'm afraid. Unless I want to make some sort of tow rope with it.